What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a breakout candidate from all 32 NFL teams. Now, I didn't do this last year, but I did it the 2 years beforehand. And this is something that I really like to look back on after the year to see if these predictions came true. I wouldn't necessarily call them predictions per se. It's just guys that I think that maybe are flying under the radar throughout the offseason. Maybe we're not looking at them enough as guys that could potentially break out and become either superstars or even more superstars than they already were in previous seasons. So without further delay, we're going to get into it. We're going to go in order of teams. So we are going to start off a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, by the thumbnail, but it is what it is. And we're going to move on to the Arizona Cardinals as the first team that we're going to talk about. I'm also not going to go too deep into it, just going to give a quick synopsis of really the reason why I think this player is going to break out, whether that be just because coming back from an injury, flying under the radar, maybe they have a bigger role in the offense. And that's kind of where I come with Michael Wilson here. He had a really, really fine rookie season, but now with Marvin Harrison Jr. on one side taking a ton of attention, presumably, and then the emergence of Trey McBride in the middle of the field, I think that's going to open up a ton of opportunities for Michael Wilson. I'm thinking anywhere between the 800 to 1,000 yard range for Michael Wilson. I really liked him coming out of Stanford last year. That Arizona Cardinals took him with a third-round pick. So to me, he's the perfect big-bodied complement possession based receiver for where Marvin Harrison Jr. is more the guy that's going to do everything. Trey McBride is the safety blanket, and then Greg Dortch is your speedy, quick gadget type of guy. I think Michael Wilson is really, really going to shine this upcoming season. And then an old friend of ours, Kyle Pitts for the Atlanta Falcons here. Yeah, I'm going to buy into the hype. I usually don't. I know it's weird to say a breakout for what Kyle Pitts. This is going to be his fourth year in the NFL, I believe. But I mean, he has suffered through his rookie year. He was good. Then he suffered through Arthur Smith. Or was he suffering through Arthur Smith in his rookie season? I don't even remember, to be honest with you. But it seems like now with Kirk Cousins and more weapons around, Kyle Pitts is going to be a guy that is probably going to be a mismatch nightmare for the defense. Not only that, Kirk Cousins is far better of a quarterback than anything that Kyle Pitts has ever had for the Atlanta Falcons. I expect him to be relevant. I know Arthur Smith hates fantasy football, and that's really the reason why he didn't give the ball to. It honestly feels like that was the reason why he didn't give his ball to his primary playmakers. When you have Bijan Robinson getting limited amount of touches, Kyle Pitts getting limited amount of touches, like what are you doing, man? You got to use your athletic weapons, and I think that the Atlanta Falcons understand that now. Kirk Cousins understands that, and he's going to be able to take advantage of Kyle Pitts' freak athleticism. Then we move on to the Baltimore Ravens, and I really like Andrew Voorhees in the starting interior offensive line role this upcoming season. This is a prospect in the 2023 NFL draft that was very highly touted, someone that was probably going to be an early day two pick. And then I believe it was a torn ACL. He tore his ACL at the combine, still put up like 37 reps of 225 on the bench, an unbelievable amount. I think it was the most of any offensive lineman with a torn ACL. This is someone that is just a really, really nasty, mean interior offensive lineman. And he's basically had a year to gain his strength back. He was a seventh round pick by the Baltimore Ravens last year, really a steal at the back end of the draft, someone that could have immediate starting talent. And I think that he will get a chance to start this year. And if he doesn't get the chance to start this year, he's definitely going to make an impact in some way, shape, or form. And I think he's going to be more of a household name. I shouldn't say household name, but he's going to be known more in the circles of the NFL fan bases for sure. I really like what Andrew Voorhees can bring to the Baltimore Ravens offense this year if he does start. And then Buffalo, this is a pretty, I would say that I don't want to call it cheating, but Khalil Shakir is someone maybe who some people might say he already broke out last year. I believe he had 611 receiving yards last year, but it really felt like much more than that. He really came alive as the season went on. Now, this is someone where the Buffalo Bills offense is wide open now. No Gabe Davis, no Stephon Diggs. You have kind of a ball of uncertainty because you have Keon Coleman, who, is very, very high expectations. But other than that, what are we expecting out of Curtis Samuel? What are we expecting out of Khalil Shakir? I think that there's going to be enough reps for Shakur to be that guy that might even end up having the most receiving yards in that Buffalo Bills wide receiver room. He's got it, man. He's got the rapport with Josh Allen as well. So I think that we're in store for 1,000+ yard receiving season from Khalil Shakur. Now we move on to the Carolina Panthers, one of the cover boys for the thumbnail. And yeah, I absolutely do think Bryce Young is a breakout candidate. One more satirical than anything is because Bryce Young's rookie season was really, really poor, and really anything is an improvement and a breakout. But the Carolina Panthers have done a good job of surrounding Bryce Young with the necessary talent to succeed. I still think they're one or two weapons away, but they established the running game. They built up the offensive line a decent amount. They got him more weapons as well. They're really investing in their quarterback. They took the notion of, we'll get our quarterback and then we'll build around him. So we'll kill him for a year and then we'll build around him. They got Dave Canales as well. So they got a nice, young, handsome head coach, an offensive mind as well, who really is accredited for the resurgence in Baker Mayfield last year as well. So hopefully he could turn around Bryce Young's woeful rookie season and make it a strong sophomore campaign. Moving on to the Chicago Bears here, Gervon Dexter Sr. is a player that I really liked coming out of the draft last year. Numbers wise, he didn't really pop off the page, but Bears fans will tell you they certainly knew that he was in the lineup week in and week out. And now this is someone with a little bit more of an established pass rush. I think on the interior as well, this is someone that could make a lot of noise. It seems like he's going to be stepping in. I believe it was more of a rotation last year. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Gervon Dexter Sr. is someone that's probably going to be stepping into a starting spot across from Andrew Billings. So Billings is more of that run stuffer, more of that nose guard type of player, where Gervon Dexter is going to be able to show his pass rushing chops and make plays behind the line of scrimmage as well. So I expect a really nice sophomore season from Gervon Dexter. And then we move on. I don't usually like to include rookies in these videos because, I mean, I don't want to say, we have nothing to base it off of, because what if Jermaine Burton has like a 300-yard receiving season this year and then 1,200 next year? That's a real breakout. But there's just so many good rookies in so many different situations this year that I really couldn't resist. There actually are a lot of rookies in this video. I will say that now. But Jermaine Burton is the first one that pops up here. And this just seems like a perfect fit for both player and the team. Jermaine Burton is going to be that wide receiver 3 in Cincinnati this year, presumably going to take over a lot of those slot reps that was left behind by Tyler Boyd. And we know the rapport that Joe Burrow and Tyler Boyd had with that slot connection. Jermaine Burton is someone who comes with a lot more speed than Tyler Boyd had, a really, really good route runner as well. This is someone that I think is going to thrive and flourish right away as a number 3 option, because, defenses aren't really going to be able to maintain that, defense against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Jermaine Burton. It gets to be a lot after a while. And Burton is someone, like I said, he's a pristine route runner. So this is someone that I think is going to take advantage of his opportunities right away. And then, yes, another old faithful here. We have Jerry Jeudy for the Cleveland Browns here. He was traded to the Cleveland Browns in the offseason for a couple of day 3 picks. He signed a 3-year, $42 million extension for the Cleveland Browns. And this is a guy, a first-round pick, who has never cracked the 1,000 receiving yard barrier, but he has a golden opportunity to do it this upcoming season, with really Amari Cooper being such a mainstay in any offense that he's a part of. He is the clear-cut wide receiver 1. Elijah Moore is probably going to be more of the slot. Well, is going to be the slot. Jamari Thrash is probably going to take some reps away, but really that wide receiver 2 is wide open, and they gave him wide receiver 2 in today's NFL. I think what is that? Oh boy, I'm really going to show my math here for a second. What is that? 17? No, it's not $17 million a year. $14 million a year. Something. Let's just call it 14 million. I think it is $14 million a year. Wow, that was really bad. That's good thing I do this and I have a blue collar job outside of this, because my goodness gracious, that would be terrible. But yeah, so $14 million a year is clear-cut wide receiver 2 money. So he's going to have a prominent role in this offense. And if Deshaun Watson comes back and plays like the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, I think there's going to be a really nice connection between Watson and Jeudy. And another rookie here for the Dallas Cowboys, we have Maris Leafau. And I just think that he kind of steps into a perfect situation for the Dallas Cowboys, where there's really no take charge linebacker in that group there. Sure, you have Damone Clark there as well, who has a ton of experience with the Dallas Cowboys, but Leafau is someone who's been impressing really, really early on, especially with his football IQ. He seems like someone that's going to be a quarterback of a defense very, very fast as well. He's going to be a playmaker at the next level. And I think he's going to start instantly and be that go to linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys this upcoming season and beyond. And then another rookie here, an undrafted rookie free agent running back for the Denver Broncos here. I have Blake Watson. I think the running back room is just so wide open in Denver. You have Javonte Williams, you have Samaje Perine, you have Jaleel McLaughlin. I think there's someone else that I'm missing that's in there as well. Basically, 5 running backs on the roster. But Blake Watson is someone, was Audric Estime drafted to the Denver Broncos? He might have been. That might be the other running back that I'm thinking of. But Watson is someone that was really, really explosive at Memphis. They have a knack for getting their running backs drafted. You think of Tony Pollard, you think of Antonio Gibson as running backs that were drafted out of Memphis as well. Watson is someone that's been impressing early on. And I think that running back 2, I feel like going forward after this year, it might be a Audric Estime, Blake Watson 1-2 punch with everyone else kind of leaving in free agency and in the offseason. So I think Watson is going to be an undrafted free agent that actually makes a lot of noise in the offense for the Denver Broncos. Now you have the Detroit Lions, and you might be thinking, how is Jahmyr Gibbs a breakout candidate? I think Jahmyr Gibbs is so much of a superstar that what we saw last year isn't even scratching the surface of what this guy is going to be able to do in the NFL. I think I'll go so bold as to say I think Jahmyr Gibbs could have a 1,000 season next year for the Detroit Lions. 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards. This guy is just so dynamic, so explosive with the ball in his hands. I think it was really good of the Detroit Lions to sign David Montgomery to that contract because he, in turn, actually had a really, really good year. But it allowed Jahmyr Gibbs to kind of acclimate himself to the NFL and not take so many hits and not take so many touches early on. So he's preserving himself as he's developing into his body, and he's just a sensational football player. And I think we're looking at someone that could even have Offensive Player of the Year candidacy this upcoming season. I'm really, really high on Jahmyr Gibbs this year. And then for the Green Bay Packers, yet another rookie, we have Edgerrin Cooper. This is one of the few non-first round rookies that seemingly will slide right into a starting spot next to Quay Walker. I mean, that has just got to be one of, if not the most athletic duos. Then you have Tyron Hopper behind those guys as well. Just an insane athletic core of linebackers here. And Cooper is someone that is just so versatile in the defense. He could rush the passer. He had 8 sacks last year from a off-ball linebacker position. He's someone that you could just put everywhere. He's a great coverage linebacker, can run as well. He's someone that is just going to be all over the defense for the Green Bay Packers. And I think he's going to be, him and Javon Bullard are going to be fantastic impact rookies for the Green Bay Packers. But I think I give the nod to Cooper over Bullard for right now. And then Houston, I'll be honest with you, it was kind of tough to choose someone that could be a breakout candidate for Houston. But I really like the fact that Houston went out and got Cade Stover. He was sitting there in, I believe, the 4th round. They went and got him. Yes, they have Dalton Schultz, and I believe they signed Dalton Schultz to a contract extension. I don't remember off the top of my head. But at the same time, we're seeing the NFL adapt these 2 tight end systems, these 2-3 running back systems. Really, we're not looking at one contributor from a positional group anymore outside of wide receivers for the most part. So Cade Stover is someone that I think can get a lot of early season looks, especially with the fact that he does have rapport with CJ Stroud. That is also big. They got the chemistry there as well from Ohio State. I think this is someone that could make an impact early on that a lot of people aren't really touting as someone that could be an impactful player in that offense. And then the other cover boy for the thumbnail here, I have Anthony Richardson, and I really liked what I saw from Anthony Richardson last year in the few games that he did play. He was out the rest of the season, basically the whole season, with a shoulder injury. Hopefully he is fully healed. He is just so dynamic. I mean, this offense just gets better and better as the offseason goes on. They added Adonai Mitchell. You have a healthy Jonathan Taylor, a healthy Anthony Richardson. This is something that we wanted to see last year, too. Imagine Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor running a Shane Steichen offense. You have Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr., Adonai Mitchell, Alec Pierce, Jelani Woods coming back from injury as well. This has the potential to be a top 5 offense if everything goes to plan. And Anthony Richardson is really the catalyst behind that plan. Can he stay healthy? Can he be as dynamic as we think he can be? Because the ceiling is limitless for Anthony Richardson, his potential. He's got the arm, he's got the running ability. I think he's going to put in a fantastic sophomore season, a healthy, fantastic sophomore season. Yet another rookie here because it just makes so much sense. I have Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jacksonville Jaguars here. And even with the addition of Gabe Davis, losing Calvin Ridley as well, losing Zay Jones, those were massive target guys last year. So now we're looking at Brian Thomas Jr., we're looking at Gabe Davis, we have Christian Kirk, and we have Evan Ingram. But I really think this offense will be elite through the production of Brian Thomas Jr. He's just such an explosive X type of receiver on the outside, where Gabe Davis is someone that can go off for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in week 1, and then you won't hear his name again in week 5. He's just super inconsistent. Christian Kirk is kind of like Mr. Consistency for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he doesn't blow me away as a number 1 option. And then you have Evan Ingram, who had 114 catches last year, but somehow didn't have 1,000 yards. But he's also a fantastic option as well. I just think this offense needs a little bit more juice. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. is that juice that the Jacksonville Jaguars offense was looking for this offseason. So I think he's going to be an immediate impact player for Trevor Lawrence and this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Joshua Williams is the pick for me for Kansas City. So what my thinking is here is Williams has been on the team for a couple years. Fayette State College, something like that he went to. Drafted in 2022, someone who is a multiple-time Super Bowl champion already. But, the Kansas City Chiefs are just a very interesting franchise where they're not afraid to trade their superstar players and just kind of, start those backups right away. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. L'Jarius Sneed traded away in the offseason. Joshua Williams presumably stepping up and taking his spot on the boundary here. So this is really more of more of an intel pick for me, honestly, where it's like, all right, well, if they're so comfortable in trading L'Jarius Sneed, they must see something in their backup guys that they're fully confident in, because that's just that Brett Veach, Andy Reid type of thing where it's next man up mentality. And Joshua Williams is someone who's made some really nice plays in the regular season and postseason as well. He's no slouch, that's for sure. I'm not just picking a name out of a hat here. He's someone that has flashed some real potential on the boundary, and I think that he could potentially be a breakout candidate for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then we have the Las Vegas Raiders here, and it's got to be Tyree Wilson. After putting in a pretty putrid rookie season, he has all the talent around him at his disposal to be a one-on-one mismatch nightmare. Right away on the interior, you now have Christian Wilkins, who is going to just eat up blocks and be a menace. And then, of course, you have one of the best, maybe even the best all-around, I know I might catch some flack for that, defensive end in the NFL in Max Crosby on the other side. You have to produce now. This is it for Tyree Wilson. I know it's crazy saying that going into year 2, but you have to produce. If all this elite talent is around you and you still can't produce, you, my friend, are a bust. But I think Tyree Wilson is going to rise to the occasion. He has a year of NFL experience under his belt now. I think he's going to gain that confidence. Like I said, you're going to be in a ton of one-on-one matchups with those two guys on your defensive line as well. So Tyree Wilson is my pick, the breakout candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders. And then another rookie here for the LA Chargers, I have Junior Colson. Really, this is a Jesse Minter special. This is a Michigan special here. But you saw that Colson was really the unsung engine of that Michigan Wolverines defense. Now he makes the transition into the NFL. He was a 3rd-round pick. I thought he was an absolute steal, a no-brainer for Jesse Minter. He's going to be the catalyst for this defense, where they don't really have a captain of this defense. I think Colson is going to step up and be a Pro Bowl level player right away. He, to me, was the best overall, besides for Edgerrin Cooper, was the best all-around linebacker in the entire draft class this past year. Coverage ability, outstanding. Run support, outstanding. Just football IQ and knowing where to be, pursuit, outstanding. This guy's an unbelievable football player, and I think he's going to make an impact right away from day one. And then kind of a cheat here with the LA Rams. I think the entire LA Rams defensive line is going to break out this year. It's just, they are just so poised to. I mean, they lost possibly the best defensive tackle in NFL history to retirement this past year, and they beefed up their defensive line beyond belief. They added Braden Fisk. They added Jared Verse. They added Tyler Davis. They had Kobe Turner from last year. They had Byron Young from last year. This has the potential to be the youngest and most explosive pass rush in the NFL. I know that might sound crazy, but they just have so many dogs on that line, and they have a great nose tackle Bobby Brown as well. They have just really great depth behind. I think this is going to be a menace of a defensive line to try and block when everyone starts getting right. Jared Verse is a fantastic prospect, was my edge one. And you have Braden Fisk, who is an unbelievable riser this year as well. Tyler Davis is someone who is super solid, who kind of fell off as the draft process went along, but getting him as late as they did, unbelievable value there. This is going to be a really, really good unit for this LA Rams defense. And then, wow, that picture is blurry. I apologize for that. Muhammad Kamara is my pick for the Miami Dolphins. So the way that I'm thinking about it is they obviously wanted to upgrade pass rush because beyond this year with Bradley Chubb, his future is uncertain, especially after coming off of another massive injury. Same thing with Jalen Phillips, another massive injury. They got Chop Robinson. But in my opinion, I feel like the defense is just going to be so concerned with the explosiveness of Chop Robinson, with the strength of Bradley Chubb, that they're going to forget about how much of a dog Muhammad Kamara is. This is someone that I desperately wanted on the New York Jets. They had him he was their first top 30 visit. I know they wanted him as well. Muhammad Kamara, incredible producer, fantastic tackle for loss guy, really great run defender, can rush the passer, incredibly strong for a size 6'1", 250 is not big, even for an outside linebacker in an odd front defense. That is not big, and he is otherworldly strong. He's going to be a massive impact player right away. And then you have Andrew Van Ginkel for me. Speaking of Miami Dolphins, now we're going over to the Minnesota Vikings. He signed with the Minnesota Vikings in the offseason, kind of an unsung hero for Miami's defense the last couple of years anyway. Someone that could be a potential breakout candidate. Minnesota, they signed Jonathan Bullard, they signed Jonathan Grenard, they drafted Dallas Turner. And that's exactly why I think Andrew Van Ginkel is someone that's going to be in there to clean up these plays. He's been an impact player for a long time now. We could be potentially looking at a 10-sack season for someone like Van Ginkel. They gave him a decent amount of money. He's going to play a lot, and he's going to be probably rotating with Dallas Turner, with Bullard, with Grenard, all these guys. So look out for Andrew Van Ginkel this year as a massive player. For Brian Flores, who always makes chicken salad out of chicken shit when it comes to his prospects, because he inherited one of the statistically worst defenses in NFL history last year and turned them into a pretty decent unit. Now he's got a lot more talent. They're going to be a pretty good unit this year. For the Pats, I have Keon White here. And really, Keon White is someone that kind of flew under the radar his rookie year just because he didn't really get that much playing time. But apparently, Jared Mayo has a plan for Keon White. He's going to presumably be one of the starters on the defensive line this year. This is someone that was just an enforcer in college, someone that didn't really get to showcase it last year. Now he's going to get a ton more playing time. I think he's going to be a really solid option along that defensive line, where we've seen the Lawrence guys and Dietrich Wises for the past decade. It seems like Keon White's going to be that young influx of talent that I think this defensive line needs. It needs that juice, and I think Keon White has that. For the New Orleans Saints, I have A.T. Perry. Now, really, you can go with A.T. Perry. You can go with Rashid Shaheed. I really feel like that wide receiver 2 role is wide open for the New Orleans Saints this year. But Perry is someone that kind of came on last year, towards the end of the year, was getting a lot more playing time and was making good use of that playing time as well. Caught a lot of long passes. Rashid Shaheed is going to be that guy that's going to be a mainstay in the lineup because of his speed, because of his ability to blow the top off the defense. But A.T. Perry is no slouch down the field as well. This is someone that comes with massive size. He was touted as having first or second round talent in the 2023 draft. He didn't play a lot. I believe he was injured going into the season. And when he did get to play, he made the most of it. So this is someone who is coming into the year fully healthy. I think he's going to be a really good option for Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. For a lot of 2-year guys coming up here, for the New York Giants here, it's got to be Jalen Hyatt for me. I think adding Malik Neighbors just will open up the defense for Jalen Hyatt and his unbelievable speed. Now, we know that Daniel Jones is no slouch when it comes to throwing the football. He can throw the ball deep down the field. He needs protection first, and he needs, more of an more of an offense. Now, Darren Waller, who still hasn't announced if he's playing or not. You have Darius Slayton, Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Wandale Robinson. You actually have some decent weapons to the point where Jalen Hyatt's someone that I could see catching like a 30+ yard ball down the field every single week. He's going to blow the top off the defense, maybe get him in those crossers as well, let him use his speed. They got to open up the offense a little bit for this guy and use his speed. And I think that they're really planning on doing that this year. I think he's going to be much more involved in the offense this year. And then for my New York Jets, if you know me personally and if you know this channel, you know I can't say enough good things about Malachi Corley. Apparently, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from Jets camp so far, he has been absolutely unbelievable. And I know you got to take that with a grain of salt because no pads, really no defense, really no intensity is being played. But this guy's a dog. I think that I said it for months that he was this year's version of Deebo Samuel, and adding Malachi Corley to Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, Mike Williams, Brees Hall, Braylon Allen. I mean, this is going to be a really, really good offense if everyone can stay healthy. And I think Corley is going to be one of those guys that's going to be super sneaky. Everyone's worried about Garrett Wilson. Everyone's worried about Mike Williams' ability down the field. I'm worried about Malachi Corley if I'm the defense. This guy is ridiculous to bring down. Extremely strong, extremely thick in the lower half. No Diddy pause on that one for sure. But you know what I'm saying if you're a football fan. I think he's going to be an absolute stud for the New York Jets. I personally can't wait. Philadelphia Eagles here. I got Nolan Smith. Now, Nolan Smith made more of an impact. First of all, I'm sorry, Nolan Smith, for using this picture. You look like you're in some real pain there. I apologize for that one. Didn't notice that at first when I was using it. But Nolan Smith made more of an impact on special teams, even though the Philadelphia Eagles signed Bryce Huff. They traded away Hassan Reddick. I think this is going to open up a ton of opportunity for Nolan Smith. They drafted him in the first round for a reason. He did need a little bit of developing. Now he's got a year under his belt. I think he's going to be a big-time impact player for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm thinking 6.5, 7 sacks in a rotational role. I think he's going to be really good this year. Super athletic as well, super fast. His impact is going to be felt on the defense for sure if he's out there. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, I have another rookie, and it's Zach Frazier. I went on record a bunch of times saying that my 2 top interior offensive linemen in the 2024 NFL draft were Zach Frazier and Jackson Powers-Johnson. I said that Zach Frazier, as a pure center, was the better prospect of the two. Zach Frazier in Pittsburgh just seemed like the most Pittsburgh pick ever. It was an absolute home run. I still think that they had the best draft of any team. I know we haven't seen these guys play yet, but on the surface level, they just had an unbelievable draft. And Zach Frazier, really, for me, is that guy right in the middle of that draft that is just going to be that cornerstone of your offensive line that you're going to plug in at the center position for 10 to 12 years and just completely forget about him. He's that fantastic. He's going to be an impact player from right away, potentially even up. I know the center position is really stacked at the top in the NFL right now, but Zach Frazier is really, really good, and he's going to show it right away in Pittsburgh. For the San Francisco 49ers, I have Jair Brown. He was someone that actually flashed a lot last year in his rookie season as someone when he got playing time. He flashed a lot. Now he's slotted to be that starting safety beside Tanaloa Hufanga. I think that he's going to excel greatly in that role, just as a technically sound safety, really good ball skills as well. He was fantastic at Penn State the year that he got drafted. I think he's going to be, I mean, when you have all these playmakers and all these dogs around you, it's kind of hard not to feed off of that. And Jair Brown is someone that's one of the younger players. I mean, you got Fred Warner, you have Dre Greenlaw, Devondre Campbell, you know, Charvarius Ward. You have all these unbelievable players on your defense. Jair Brown is someone that's he's been learning from these unbelievable players. I think he's going to step up and he's going to be a fantastic player for the San Francisco 49ers this year. And then for the Seattle Seahawks, I have another rookie here. I have Tyrese Knight. I think he's listed 3rd on the depth chart for left inside linebacker. For me, I think that he has a chance to win that spot outright in camp and in the preseason and all that kind of stuff. He's in a weaker linebacker class where it was really, really top heavy. Tyrese Knight was kind of that, I would say, B tier linebacker that I really, really enjoyed watching. Good coverage skills, heck of a tackler as well, really nice in run support. This is like the prototypical Seattle Seahawks linebacker that you're looking for. They have to replace Jordan Brooks now. I think Tyrese Knight is going to step into that role and excel pretty seamlessly, honestly. He's got the football IQ as well. And I'm really excited to see what he could do. They love their linebackers in Seattle, and I think Tyrese Knight fits that bill perfectly for them. Whoa, I went too fast there. Okay, Tampa Bay, Yaya Diaby for me. Last year, you might say that a 9 sack season is a breakout, and you would probably be right. But Diaby is someone that I think just completely flew under the radar last year because you're so worried about Vita Vea. They were worried about Kalijah Kancey being their first round pick, and Diaby was that third round pick that everyone was like, Diaby that early? You must have saw something that you liked. And he was fantastic last year. I think he's going to take another step in being that guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the outside as an outside linebacker. Kind of a lot of mid, to be honest with you. You have Joe Tryon Shayanka, you have Anthony Nelson. They drafted Chris Braswell. I'd really love to see Logan Hall. My five would be it would be Braswell. I'd have Logan Hall, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, and Yaya Diaby. And for me, that five is unbelievable as a pass rush. So Diaby is someone that I think is going to be a mainstay as that guy that's going to be hovering around that 8 to 10 sacks a season. He's awesome. And then the second to last team here, we have the Tennessee Titans, and I have Tajay Spears. This should be no surprise to anyone, especially if you watch the end of the season. When Derrick Henry was kind of getting tired towards the end of the year, they wanted to preserve him, I guess. I don't know what they were doing. Tajay Spears was getting more reps, and he was obviously the more explosive out of the two, as Derrick Henry will run through you. Tajay Spears was that guy that could run around you, that could run through you as well, shift around you. He is, to me, I don't think that he's an every down back, and I think that's why they signed Tony Pollard. But I think it's going to be clear right away that Tajay Spears is going to be the guy that gets the majority of the touches for Tennessee. And I think he's super explosive, especially as a pass catcher as well. This is someone that I think is going to be a really, really nice 3-down back for them after they spring Tony Pollard, of course. And then the last team and the last player for me here is Ben Sinnott for the Washington Commanders. Someone I feel like we've been hearing about Jaden Daniels. We've been hearing about the defensive additions that they made. Ben Sinnott was someone that completely flew under the radar for a lot of people as the tight end 2 in this class. Obviously, Brock Bowers was the cream of the crop. And then Ben Sinnott was someone, when you turn on the tape, that was really awesome as well. Tremendous size, athletic ability. This is someone that is buried underneath Zach Ertz on the depth chart for now, but I don't really buy into that. I think Sinnott has a chance to start right away, and he's going to be that safety blanket. I always say when you draft a quarterback, this was just my thinking always. When you draft a rookie quarterback to be your franchise guy, you have to draft a wide receiver or a tight end, someone that they're going to be able to grow and develop with and develop that chemistry early on. And this could be the pairing that we're seeing right away, as where you have Terry McLaurin, you have Jahan Dotson, they got Luke McCaffrey as well. Ben Sinnott could be that guy that develops that chemistry right away with Jaden Daniels. So I'm super excited to see what goes on this season. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any breakout candidates for your favorite team that I did not get. I appreciate you guys watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.